start? Can I start? All right. Hello, everybody. So, as you guys are probably aware, we're going to talk about model search, more specifically the implementation that we are using in all the H&I brands. Um, Basically, we implemented a unique solution that bridged the different infrastructures for the three brands that we in Codec work for at H&I, which are Han, Alstu, and Gunlock. And we strive to create just one backend that could support and could handle all of their data. We're going to talk a little bit of how we pulled that off and where we are at with it at the moment. Just briefly, a little bit about myself. I'm Felipe Teixeira. I'm a father of a fantastic little girl. I'm married. I started my career over 20 years ago. And before CT, I was a C# developer. So basically, in a nutshell, that's a little bit about myself. This is the agenda. First, we will explore at a high level the differences between the native CT solution for searching through models called Catalog Browser. I'm sure, if not everybody, but most of you guys probably use that by now. And then we're going to talk about what we did and what's the difference between the two options or the two solutions. I need to say something before we move any further. This machine is failing on me, so it could be that I'm going to see like a blue screen from hell here. And we have a backup plan over there. That's Tyler, by the way. He's starting up the entire environment that I have set up in here. So if something goes sideways here, we're going to have some sort of intermission to just switch the machines. That out of the way, we will then talk about how we planned and implemented, as I said, a single PGC model search that can easily handle different data structures and deployment life cycles, which is a very important piece of the puzzle here, whilst remaining efficient and easy to manipulate. So we have different brands. Each brand have like a different timeline as to when they want to go to production with their stuff. And the solution needs to be unique, yet capable to handle the intricacies of each of their processes. We will then discuss some cool features that is embedded, and it's part of the solution. And we also got to show how to explore its full potential if you're a user specifically of the platform on your day-to-day inside CT. And then I'll open the mic. Actually, feel free to interrupt me. I don't really mind being interrupted if there's a question. So, as I said, we're going to start by talking about the differences between the native CT solution for searching models versus what we have. Question for you guys. Does anyone here knows what PGC stands for? Like I'm talking PGC. All right, so who? I'm not going to go with you. Sorry. Maybe you. What is PGC?
Parametric graphical configuration.
Great, you just won a wireless charger. So good for you. And yes, that's exactly what it is. On one hand, we have Catalog Browser, right? Which you all know, and maybe someone loves it. I don't know. In a nutshell, it allows you to search for models that were pushed to Catalog Creator, or through, I guess, Catalog Creator. Once you insert that model or snapper in the drawing, the only configurations you're allowed to change are the ones that were created inside Catalog Creator. So the properties in there. Come on. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Where's the cursor? Oh, there it is. Another thing that is hard although possible, and I need to emphasize that because Configura was kind of pissed at me when I said it wasn't, or implied it wasn't. It's possible to filter your results to get what you're actually looking for amongst like the sea of data that you have in there. It also doesn't have any sort of tailored experience as far as like learning and adapting to your usage of the tool. And on the other hand, we have, again, HNI's PGC model search. In our tool, all of the symbols that you're going to see there are smart in the sense that they are all PGC. They are code-driven, all of them, just like the ones that you bring out of the toolbox. So when you click whatever you want to insert. In HNI's model search, you can easily filter the results to get the model you're looking for. So I guess we're almost at 19,000 different models in there. So you can guess how hard it is to just find that one thing that you were looking for if you're not smart looking for it. And the thing is, the more you use it, the more the tool can infer which is the model that you're looking for. So as over time you use it, it will be more capable of understanding what is it that you're usually looking for that particular query that you're throwing against it. How does it do that? You might be asking. It starts with lexical analysis on the topic that you're looking for. So lexical is like the words in the vocabulary. I was partially inspired by Apache's Lucene and Solar. I don't know if you guys, especially the developers here, you ever use that or you know what those things are. But they are at the beginning of Google. That's basically they shared a bunch of infrastructure for the search engine. So it's like a fantastic piece of infrastructure that you can just hook on anything and everything. You can embed Lucene on pretty much any device, and it just works. It's magic. So I took a lot of inspiration on those things. Obviously, it is simplified. It's not exactly a Lucene or a Solar, because I mean we're not at that level. We don't need that right now. But it gets the job done efficiently. As I said before, and I will demonstrate, there is an extra feature that those two projects do not have, which is we learn about you. And don't be afraid. Like, we learn about you, but we don't tell anyone. Everything that we know about you stays on your machine. No one else knows about it. Like, there's absolutely no way that data is leaving your machine without you actually doing it manually. So it's all tailored to you and only you. If we're going like without any sort of like special algorithm, you could, in theory, just do like an index of on top of like every single sentence that you have, like in the product description or in your part number. You would get somewhat of like a good result. You would find things. I guess that's a way to put it. So you would find a few things amongst the ocean of data. And that's what we call the naive approach. So basically, you're looking for pedestals. So I have work surfaces with pedestals, table, and pedestals. I have an actual pedestal over there. And then I have this thing, which is a pad, which is not a pedestal, but it is. It's not written exactly using the word pedestal, but it is a pedestal. So if I were naively navigating my data, I would probably pick up the 3 first, but I will leave that first item completely behind. I would not be able to identify that thing is what I'm talking about. But then this is kind of like a little bit of how we implemented the thing. We strive to convey as much meaning as possible to every piece of information that we have. Every data point we have is decomposed and is individually validated as uniquely identifiable piece of information. In this slide, I guess we can see how a simple search for pedestal is handled. So basically, we are able to match all of the first 3 that we're using the naive approach, but we are also able to identify that the pad is actually a pedestal. Moreover, we're able to rank them. So I'm actually able to tell that this is more likely to be what you're looking for when compared to table with lateral file and pedestal. So it's a pedestal after all. It's not something that has a pedestal. So that's the thing with the meaning of what we're looking for. Then we have a more evolved query being interpreted by the engine. So when we're searching for lam work surface W column 48, which is right there, I can actually be more, myself as a user, I can be super specific as how I want to increase the knowledge or the specificity of the thing that I want to have as a return for what I'm looking for. So basically, I throw that query through the engine that we have. We break the query down into what we call mnemonics. I'm going to talk about mnemonics in a little bit. And I try to make sense of everything that I know about, or I think I know about what you're looking for. I have dimensions in a separate space, like knowledge space. Think about your brain. So you have parts of your brain that are specifically to control your motor skills, language, feelings of like heat, cold, stuff like that. We have exactly the same thing inside the engine. So we have different sections with different types of knowledge in there. And the first, or one of the first layers of knowledge is interpreting or giving meaning to individual pieces of information. So that's how we kind of break down one sentence into routed data through the brain of the operation. Taking a peek now behind the scenes, we can look at the major portions of the infrastructure that are in place to improve the engine's capability of conveying meaning to the user's input. So I don't know if you guys ever heard about this mnemonic thing. I'm honestly not even sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's not my first language if you guys haven't noticed it yet. But this is for the second wireless charger. Does anyone know what a mnemonic is? There you go. I was cheering for you, man. All right, so what's a mnemonic? Are you asking like in the computer science sense or in the it's the same thing, really. They are the same thing.
So there's two different mnemonics that I like to think about when I talk about mnemonics.
Holy crap, you're Adam.
I am. Hello. Yeah, Adam Mixter. Hi. I'm famous amongst developers. Hello. The please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is a classic one that almost everybody knows. That's the order of operations mnemonic. It helps you remember the order of things by having some other thing to link your memory to.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Correct. Fantastic. Thank you, Adam. I'm happy that you are Adam. So there's actually a mnemonic for a mnemonic, which is memory needs every method of nurturing its capacity. So that's a mnemonic for mnemonic. So that's what we use like deeply. One of the tools that we use deeply inside the engine to kind of like help the computer understand what the hell we're talking about when we send a bunch of letters towards it. There's actually one other way for us to convey meaning to things, which is the human really explaining like I'm 5 to the computer type of way. So we allow our users to manually activate what we call filters to tell the engine what are the constraints for that particular query that they are throwing at it. So basically that's done by using a combination of token and column. So we have some tokens like brand is a token, catalog, category, W, age, D. Those are all tokens that you can use for different things. So basically those are it. So you want a specific brand, so I want work surfaces, but I want just the Hans one. So I can just look for Hans work surfaces, AUS2, unlock. That's it simplifies everyone's work. So basically the engine knows that there's a reduced set of data that I need to go through, and the user knows that they are only going to see what they're looking for. So as I said, the model search engine is one for the entire corporation. and it doesn't really care about the use of different architectures across the brands. I think Adam and anyone here from Configure knows that we do things kind of like in a very heterogenic way across the brands. Like we have all sorts of flavors that you can think of as far as like how we code for CAT. And the secret to this is having like a very simple, way simple API that drives the engine. So basically I have three methods: find similar, and query. That's all. That's all. Those are the things that I can communicate about with the engine. Everything else is just modularized somewhere else. A little bit about the basic architecture. The engine itself, it is responsible for loading all the data from all the brands and organizing it in memory in a way that is easy to fetch for it. It can also be extended with strategies and filters. So, I mean, we don't really have to change the engine itself for no good reason, really. Like, unless we want to change the main algo, we can teach it new things. I mean, let's put it like that. You don't change your brain to learn new stuff, right? You just learn new stuff, and the brain like knows how to organize it. That's how the engine works. Like, we throw new knowledge at it, like a unitized piece of knowledge, and basically the brain identifies how is the best way to access that information and to trigger that new knowledge that it just acquired. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the infrastructures, the two main infrastructures that we have, which are filters first, which are basically small algorithms. The idea for filters are it will get the entire data set or like a chunk of data, and it's going to filter it down, hence the name, into like a smaller set that it can be more easily digested before sending that to the user. So instead of going through every single data that I have, all of the 19,000 items that I have, by using filters, I can reduce that to like maybe 1% of the entire data set. So that's one thing. And also filters are those things that are triggered manually by the user using token, column, whatever you want. And then there are actually the search algorithms. They are similar. In a way, they are self-contained. They hold the logic that tells relevant information from noise on like specific data points that we have. It automatically triggers. It actually is triggered by the brain. You can think that as like how your brain fires neuron cells. That's like, I don't know if you guys remember, like axons, neurons, and all of that crap. That's basically an abstraction to that operation. At a high level, they are responsible for performing tasks such as identifying features on our data and making the actual matches take place. They can also do spell checks if we want. We don't have that yet, by the way. It's not going to work. But we could. And again, as I said, we don't need to change the brain. We just need to tell the brain the constraints of like the English language, for example. The filters not only. Oh, sorry, I was on the next slide. All right. The filters that are applied by or strategies, they operate on top of a confidence rate. So the confidence ratio is like a discrete value that goes from 0, which means I have absolutely no confidence that this is what the user is looking for, to 1, which is this is exactly what the user is looking for. It goes in increments of 0.01. So I could be slightly unsure if that's what they're looking for all the way through. Yeah, that's I have a very, very good feeling that that's it. The ratio can also be artificially boosted or demoted based on business decisions. For example, I was talking with one of my friends here that say that we are launching a new product line, and we want that guy, whenever the user is looking for something that's relevant, that guy shows on the top of the list. So if I'm launching like a table line and the user searches for tables, I want those guys to be extra relevant. We can do that. on the opposite hand, if we're discontinuing products, and this is something that we actually do right now, we send those to the base of the list. Unless the user really knows or really goes after those guys, they're not going to show up at all. They're there, but it's very unlikely that they are what the user is looking for. And even if it is, it's not something that we want to push out. So, I mean, they show up, but it's kind of like a moot point. Then there's relevance. The relevance is actually a factor related to the type of match performed. In its purest form, it holds the information of the type of match that was done. So whether it's like a perfect match, a partial match, a match at the beginning, at the end, whatever it is. It can also be tweaked by the search strategy to decrease or increase its value. So it's also something that we can just go ahead and individually change if we want. For example, a strategy can perform like a perfect match on top of a criteria for a given query. Say that we're looking for a specific part number, and for one of the strategies, the search strategies, I can make that match more relevant than for a different ones. For example, a strategy that looks for catalog can be less relevant than a strategy that looks for part numbers. So when they are put against each other, it's more likely that the input, if the user actually entered like a valid part number, that guy is what they are looking for. And here are the different types of relevance bias. So basically, we have undefined, which is I haven't even analyzed whatever you're throwing at me right now. A loose match, which is I found something that resembles what you're looking for. A snapper property, so we do know things about the snappers as we're dealing with PGC data here. So it could be that I matched, for example, a category that I have inside the snapper. It could be that I matched even like as far as a component that is exposed by that snapper. So that's one type of match. Partial match, so I'm looking for work in a work surface text. That's a partial match. Perfect match, like the user either provided an entire part number or the full description for a model. That's a perfect match. And personalized, this is my personal favorite, would be like a relevance tweaked by an external factor, such as business decision again. So we could quickly implement something along the lines of what Google does with AdWords. Like we want to be able to identify certain criteria and just boost them or boost some models or demote models, also using relevance. So we can do that as well. There's like a hook that we can just code for it. We're almost there, by the way. I don't know how we're going in time. We're doing time. Good, good. So moving forward a little bit, I'm going to show you guys a few things that we're doing that are connected to model search, but they're not model search itself. They just rely upon the engine that we've created. So there are three things really: the HNI notebook integration, some custom user models, and team integration. And this is where I'm going to pray that this thing doesn't go blue screen on me, because that's where it was before. So let me just move model search here. Hey, this is model search, by the way. So as you can see here, I hope you can see because it's kind of blurry to me. I can type anything, so say panel. And, oh, I misspelled it. Panel. Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is production. I'm going to show you one thing. So I'm going to hit it again. See that loading bar over there? That takes a while, like almost, I don't know, maybe a second and a half, a little bit. So in some machines that are in my old machine that went blue screen on me, it took almost 2 seconds, 2.5 sometimes. The blue icon there is our current beta, where we're doing some cool things for the future. This is how the same query looks like right now. Like that. So the entire thing is just, it went, in general, I think it went 93% better from production to current beta. Again, the brain is the same. We're just more smart, or smarter, yes, on how we handle that information and how we treat everything. It not only is faster, but it has a bunch of more features that production doesn't have. And let's go through them right now. So I'm going to take dev here. So let's go CT. Right. So the first thing that I want to show you, can you see that this first section here, they have like a different shade or different colors for the lines? Those are the lines that are relevant to me. As I used this tool, I used those guys more when I was looking for panel specifically. So when I search for panel, they show up on the top. And everything else is just scored across whatever the brain decided that was the good way to do it. And the more I use it, the more it is sure, or it can be certain of what is it that should be showing on top. That is super helpful because we do have another tool here. Unfortunately, this is beyond the point. I would love to talk about Home Notebook, or actually HNI Notebook, but we don't have time for that. But basically what this is a note-taking, oh, I'm on the different screen. It is a note-taking app inside CT. So you don't need to leave CT to do basically anything, really. So you can take notes for your drawings and save that alongside with your drawings. You can take note on your drawings and share those drawings with the notes with your colleagues and work on them. Or you can just have them privately to yourself. You can use them. You can use them so they are. CT is going to remind you to look into them in, like, I don't know, an hour from now, tomorrow, whatever. I mean, there's like a full talk just right in that corner over there. But there is one thing. So I have this note right here that I'm going to open. And what is it? Can you guys read what is in there? All right. So this is integrated. This tool was integrated with Model Search. And I can type anything that I want in here. Obviously, it's like a note-taking app. But what Model Search does when integrated with Notebook is that it can suggest actions based on the text that you have in there. So I'm talking about work surfaces and panel in there. So I can just see what are the work surfaces and what are the panels that I use the most straight inside Home Notebook. And I can insert them from here as well. So if I click this, it's going to load the model. Take a little bit. Just don't go blue. Stay green, quick properties. There we go. Ooh. Yeah. I'm not celebrating yet. So yeah, so basically, and one thing to notice, it doesn't cost anything. You don't even know. If I didn't tell you that there was a thing there, processing, searching your data, and understanding what you're typing in your notes, you wouldn't know. It doesn't show. It doesn't really take any of your there's no performance or visible performance hit. There is like a discrete number behind the scenes for sure, but it doesn't really cost you anything to enable this thing and just go to town with it. One thing, this only shows relevant data. So it's not going to pollute your notes with things that are irrelevant to you. If you don't have anything that's relevant, it's not going to show anything. If you do have, up until, I think I have 10 items in here. I think so. Up until 10 items, it's going to show here. More than that, it's going to be, I guess it's going to get in the way. So I prevent it from showing you that. This is one thing. The other thing, which every click I do here, I'm just freaking out a little bit. So I have this file. I guess you guys are going to notice that I'm not a designer by any stretch. But I did create one thing here. I'm going to talk about this. Wait. So, who here works with favorites? Great. How do you handle your favorites? Do you have a folder? Folder? Yeah, I guess that's probably the only way. Like, but do you have like OneDrive, or how do you go from machine 1 to machine 2, or from you to your colleagues? Basically, you have to do. I guess you have to manually do that somehow, right? In model search, or as part of the model search solution, and this is like I need to say this. This is a work in progress. I hope this is going to work, but I mean, it's going to be the surprise factor. You can store and manage all of your favorite files straight inside model search. So basically, you can improve on the library that is embedded as part of the HNI extensions with your own things. So let's right-click the chair, add to model search, and it's here. And I'm gonna give this group key. Actually, let me just do one thing first. I'm gonna call it abstract art, because I don't know why. And then there are flowers and a chair, whatever. Save to model search. It's going to do some things. And now, if I go into model search, and I already had created one just in case this one failed. But if I search for abstract, I'm going to be able to see this guy right here. So I do have two. So abstract art, this is the one that I just created. And this is the one that I've created before. The nice thing here is, like, in this one, I actually have a chair, an accommodate chair, which is like one of the chairs that we have for Han. So if I type, hey, is this? Yeah. So I'm going to see the actual models that we ship with extension, plus my own personal favorite file right here that I can just click and add to my drawings. Last but not least, for sure, I have the option to share this library with all of my colleagues. So let's say that I can point this to a OneDrive, Google Drive, whatever you want, and make like a collaborative type of library that just feeds model search, and everybody can extend and use the tool in a more efficient manner, I guess. It doesn't store only HNI's products. As you can see, those are CT plants, clearly by the green of it, and it works. Let's see, what else? I think, yeah. Yes.
There's virtual people who can't hear. Okay, we're good. I feel like I electrocuted myself grabbing that from you. Do you have to save the favorites into model search from here, or could you like drag them in if you already have them in a folder?
You could drag them and then right-click on top of anything that's HNI and add to model search from there. So you could convert your favorites if you want, but you need to do like a two-step thing.
Okay.
We can do
Thank you.
automatic if you want. Tap, tap, tap. Anyone else? It's not worth wireless charger anymore, but
No wireless charger.
I'm out of those.
It should be on.
There are bags over there, by the way, so feel free to grab those as you.
Hey, Felipe.
Yep.
Yep, that was a very good presentation, and I think it works really well. It looks fantastic. But I didn't quite get the part regarding the notepad. Like, what's the point of the integration between the notepad and the model search? What's the typical use case for a user? Just out of curiosity.
Sure. So I think that to properly answer that, I would have to teach you everything about Notebook. But the idea here is that you're going to take your notes regarding your project, your drawing, or anything really, as you normally do. And you're going to delegate to Model Search the responsibility of trying to help you make that project or bring that project to to reality. So basically, if you're talking about panels, it is going to try and suggest you the panels that you use the most inside CT. If you're talking about workstations or work surfaces, it is going to try and suggest you the work surfaces that you use the most in CT. So it's just like a bridge between the thoughts that you've stored in plain text form into actionable items that you can just convert into snappers, components, whatever in the drawing.
And that is part of your user's typical workflow?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, there's virtual people that want to hear you.
Can you? One thing that I see myself using this as for design is more for ancillary or for seating. So if I think about if I'm leaving a note to do good, better, best seating with a client. As a designer, we all have our go-tos that we typically use. So if I'm constantly searching the same chairs and it can recognize chairs or seating in the note, then I can just quickly go into the drop-down and not have to go into the tab or go into the search tool. So I don't know that every project's a little bit different. So a work surface, I might be using different sizes, but chairs or ancillary or accessories, I could see myself using over and over out of that.
One thing that I would like to point out here, and this actually goes, where is that? Hand to hand with my special thanks, is that the notebook tool was actually created as just like a 100% we're just aiming to make something that would possibly make our users' life better. It was not meant to be like something that was necessarily asked for, as it was something that we knew or we expect to be useful. So it's, I guess I need to, again, that's why I'm talking about the thanks part. We do have some freedom, a lot of freedom inside the company to innovate, and we try to do that as much as we can. And I think like it's part of innovation that you might hit some, miss some, but you never know until you try. And throughout the process of creating all of these tools and some others, we are definitely going to find like some things that were, some opportunities that were untapped, and some solutions that were just assumed to not exist before. And Notebook, again, it was born with the idea of like just being a note-taking tool. Now it can also remind you about them. It can be embedded into drawings. It can be shared across your team. It can understand what you're talking about and suggest actions on top of that. So we're kind of like going for an ecosystem of solutions that is going to hopefully preventing you from having to go away from CT to do whatever you're having to do to get work done. So stay in CT, we got you covered, and you basically don't have to worry about what we can leverage as far or any sort of automation that we can throw at you. Does that answer your question? Cool. Anyone else? So thank you, my wife, Amanda, Liz, my daughter, Harmony over there, Anna, Tyler, the entire HNI team, the entire Encodec team, Jen, and thank you guys for being here, for asking questions, and see you out there.